Jacob Miller sat beside his daddy on the third pew every Sunday morn. He knew the sound of old-time preaching and the hymns the saints had carried for so long. His mama prayed beside the kitchen window, called his name before she went to sleep. She said, "Son, this world will try to own you, but the Lord will never lose his sheep." But roads can bend where hearts grow restless, and young men chase what shines at night. One wrong step became another, till he wandered far beyond the light. Small choice that changed it all. First came friends who laughed at goodness, then came nights he never told at home. Promises became excuses, till the truth no longer felt like home. He traded peace for easy money, traded trust for things that wouldn't last. Everyone in sounded distant, like a church bell fading in the past. And roads can bend where hearts grow restless, and young men chase what shines at night. One wrong step became another, till he wandered far beyond the light. He never planned to lose tomorrow. He never dreamed how far he'd fall. That's how the road to prison started. One small choice that changed it all. Then one cold night beneath the city lights, everything came crashing down. Sirens echoed through the darkness as blue lights painted every building in town. Steel doors closed behind him slowly. The sound still echoed in his mind. For the first time in his whole life, there was nowhere left to run or hide. Mama's Bible sat back home unopened. Dust was gathering on its frame, and somewhere in that lonely silence, he finally heard the weight of his own name. Roads can bend where hearts grow restless, and young men chase what shines at night. One wrong step became another, till he wandered far beyond the light. The judge spoke words that changed his future. The courtroom fell completely still, and as the prison gates swung open, Jacob met the consequence of will. The chains that closed around his freedom, the past stood staring through the bars. But God was writing something greater than the story written by his scars. first few nights were long and bitter. Sleep refused to come his way. Every sound inside that prison seemed to steal another piece away. The concrete floor felt cold beneath him. The steel bed offered little rest, and every choice he'd made for freedom now sat like a stone upon his chest. Behind these walls there ain't no running, no place to hide from yesterday. The silence speaks a little louder when all the noise has gone away. The man he was kept standing with him in every shadow, every hall. Behind these walls he faced the truth that he could no longer blame them all. Days rolled by like years in motion. Faces came and faces went. Some were angry, some were broken. Most were carrying their own regret. Jacob learned to hide his feelings like every man around him did. But every night the darkness found him and uncovered everything he hid. Behind these walls there ain't no running, no place to hide from yesterday. The silence speaks a little louder when all the noise is gone away. The man he was kept standing with him in every shadow, every hall. Behind these walls he faced the truth that he could no longer blame them all. Then one afternoon in winter, an old chaplain stopped beside his door. His hair was gray, his hands were weathered, like he'd walked this road 1,000 times before. He didn't preach a long sermon, didn't say much at all. He simply handed Jacob a Bible and said, "Son, God still hears you call." Jacob almost laughed out loud as the chaplain walked away. What good could words upon a page do for a man who'd thrown his life away? Yet that one old book lay waiting on the table through the night, like a lamp no one had kindled, still prepared to give its light. Behind these walls there ain't no running, no place to hide from yesterday. The silence speaks a little louder when all the noise has gone away. And though he didn't know it then, grace had entered through that door, disguised inside a weathered Bible like he'd never seen before. The prison lights went dark that evening. The hallway settled into peace, and beside a lonely prison bunk lay the beginning of relief. that Bible waited on a table by his bed. Jacob passed it every evening, but never read a word it said. One cold night he couldn't sleep, the memories wouldn't leave him alone. So he reached across the darkness and picked up that book he'd never known. The pages opened by themselves to a place worn soft with time, and something slipped onto the floor, a folded note from years behind. It was a letter from a stranger, a man he'd never seen before. Yet every line felt like a mirror to the life he was living now behind that door. The first word stopped his breathing, his tears began to fill his eyes. If you're reading this, my brother, God has not forgotten you tonight. The letter said, I sat where you're sitting, I wore these chains and carried this shame. I thought my life was finished, and I cursed the sound of God's own name. But grace can reach a prison cell just like it reaches any church pew. And the God who found me in this darkness can surely do the same for you. Jacob read those words repeatedly, like a thirsty man beside a spring. For the first time since his sentence, hope began to whisper something. It was a letter from a stranger, a man he'd never seen before. Yet every line felt like a mirror to the life he was living now behind that door. As tears began to fill his eyes. If you're reading this, my brother, God has not forgotten you tonight. Then he opened up the scriptures to the page the letter named, and there he read of Saul the sinner who met mercy and was changed. He saw himself between those verses, not beyond redemption's reach. And for the first time in forever, his heart became a place God could teach. It was a letter from a stranger, but it felt like heaven's hand reaching through the years to tell him there was still a purpose in God's plan. The prison walls were standing still, yet something else had broken free. The chains around his weary spirit had begun to lose their hold on him. The lights went out across the cell block, but Jacob stayed awake till dawn, reading promises he'd once ignored and praying words he'd never spoken. And somewhere in the halls of heaven, the Father heard a prisoner's cry. For the first time in many years, Jacob bowed his head and asked God why. First prayer came in broken pieces, words he struggled hard to find. years of running from the Savior had left a wilderness inside. There were no crowds and no revival, no choir singing soft and sweet, just a lonely man in prison, kneeling on cold concrete. Kneeling on concrete, he finally touched grace. Not in a church filled with people, but in that forgotten place. The walls around him stood unshaken. The bars were still the same, yet freedom found his weary spirit the moment he called Jesus' name. Morning came and something changed him, though he couldn't explain it yet. The anger that had ruled his thinking began to loosen its grip. He started reading every morning before the prison awoke each day, finding strength inside the scriptures that carried his fears away. Some men laughed when they would see him sitting with that worn old book, but others slowly gathered near him, wanting a second look. Kneeling on concrete, he finally touched grace. Not in a church filled with people, but in that forgotten place. The walls around him stood unshaken. The bars were still the same, yet freedom found his weary spirit the moment he called Jesus' name. One young inmate named Elijah had nearly given up his fight. Jacob shared the letter and the Bible and sat with him one restless night. They prayed together in the silence where bitterness once used to live. And Jacob learned the greatest healing often starts when we forgive. The old chaplain watched from a distance as hope spread cell by cell. For the first time in many seasons, something holy filled that jail. Chains still hung around their bodies, but not around their souls. And men who thought they were forgotten started believing they were known. Kneeling on concrete, God met him where he fell. The same Lord who walked on water was walking through that prison cell. And though the gates remain still locked, a greater door had opened wide, for the man who entered broken was becoming someone new inside. The calendar kept turning pages, release day slowly drew near, but Jacob no longer feared tomorrow, because he knew the Lord was here. And beyond those prison fences, a road was waiting to begin. Not the road that led to prison, but the road that led him home again. The morning sun broke through the darkness on the day he dreamed about for years. Jacob stood and gathered what he owned, with grateful eyes and quiet tears. The guard who called his name that morning shook his hand before he left and said, "I've watched what God has done here. Don't forget what you've been given yet." The gate swung wide before him slowly, like a chapter coming to its end. He stepped beyond those prison fences, a different man than had gone in. Walking out singing, though he walked out alone. No family stood there waiting, no crowd to welcome him home. But the God who met him in the prison was standing by his side, walking out singing, with grace as his guide. The highway stretched before him, past fields he'd never seen before. Every mile felt like a mercy, every breath worth thanking God for. Then from a little white church near the edge of a country road, he heard familiar voices singing the old hymns his mama loved. The sound came floating through the windows like an answer to a prayer, and something deep inside him whispered, "Son, you finally made it here." Walking out singing, though he walked out alone. No family stood there waiting, no crowd to welcome him home. But the God who met him in the prison was standing by his side, walking out singing, with grace as his guide. He stepped inside those wooden doors and slipped into the very back. The congregation kept on singing, unaware of all he lacked. Then the preacher paused and smiled as if he'd known him all along, and said, "Friend, there's always room here. Come and help us sing this song." The tears he fought for years to bury finally rolled down his face, as broken voices joined together to celebrate amazing grace. He thought about his mama praying by that kitchen window years ago, and all the seeds she'd planted faithfully that he had tried so hard to ignore. The prison wasn't where God lost him. was mended. Walking out singing, not because the road was easy, not because the scars were gone, or because his past had freed him. Walking out singing, because Jesus broke the chains, and the man who entered prison would never be the same. Walking out singing, with a brand new song to raise, from the darkness of a prison cell to the light of saving grace. The church bells rang that Sunday morning, across the fields and through the pines, and Jacob lifted up his voice for the first time in his life. The old saints sang around him as heaven seemed to draw near, and the prisoner who walked in carrying shame walked out carrying praise.